Guilty or not guilty, the judge asked for the third time. Not guilty. Nora's response echoed throughout the court. Not guilty, angrily the judge asked. Yes, not guilty. Were you not the one that testified against yourself that you are a serial killer? I was a serial killer. Yes, that's right. But I'm not to be blamed. Everything has just been complicated since I was born. Life itself has not been fair too. Nora said, I was picked up and nurtured by the wrong person, who was the only person that ever showed me love since my mom died. Remember, my family background played a huge role in defining my current situation right now. Nora screamed with tears rushing down her chin. This story is about a beautiful young girl named Nora. Her mom died when she was 6 years old, and within a few months, her dad did not hesitate to marry her mom's best friend Stella, who indeed made her life terrible. Immediately, Mrs. Stella stepped into their home. She changed suddenly. Nora can vividly remember how Mrs. Stella adored her during those times that she visited her mom. Auntie Stella was always loving. She was the best among her mom's friends. Auntie Stella never forgets to get her gifts while coming to visit. She will always shower her with gifts and admire her beauty. Immediately Nora's mom died and his dad took Stella as his wife. Everything changed. Her dad, who never plays with her, became very mean and nonchalant. Mrs. Stella, on the other hand, made Nora's life and stay in the house unbearable. She always reminded her of how worthless she was on a daily basis. There is no day that passes by without Mrs. Stella beating and insulting Nora. She rained insults on her about little mistakes that should be ignored. As little as Nora was, she was forced to wash the clothes with her bare hands, while nobody uses the washing machine. Nora was not known for coming to school late due to the fact that she's assigned to do many house chores before leaving for school, which her stepmom gives to her intentionally, just to discourage her from going to school. No matter what you do in this life, you will never amount to anything. You ugly thing, her stepmom screamed at her as she hurried to school one day. Despite her stepmom's despiteful words, Nora knows very well that she is beautiful because her mom always told her so. And also the admiration she gets from school and from her teachers. Her face is well curved with her pointed nose and beautiful blue eyes. Her smiles always lit up the room, but at home her self-worth was reduced to zero because of the words that her stepmom always said to her. One day, Nora came back home from school smiling, and when her stepmom sighted her, she rushed out from her shop and asked her why she was smiling. Nora said nothing, but her stepmom insisted that she must know the reason behind her smile. With fear and trembling, Nora told her the reason why she was smiling. As I was returning back from school, a young man that I always greet while going and coming back from school told me how beautiful I was and how respectful I have been. And he also handed me some cash to get snacks for myself. That is the only reason why I was smiling, Nora said, shivering. Her stepmom grabbed her by the ears, gave her the beating of her life, and threatened to stop her from going to school if she receives gifts from strangers again. You must be asking where her dad was when all these things were happening. Well, her dad had nothing to say. He always returns home late at night, very drunk. Anytime Nora managed to engage him in a conversation, the only thing he got to say is, Nora, it's high time you accept and love your stepmom. I do not hate her, Dad, Nora will always say with dismay. Try and understand my pain, Dad, but no way, life still continues the way it was. On a fateful Sunday morning, Nora's stepmom asked 7-year-old Nora to iron her Sunday dress. While she was doing that, her stepmom called her out again to go and get her water. She immediately ran off without removing the iron from the clothes. When she returned, the clothes was already burnt, and when her stepmom found out, she angrily placed the hot iron on Nora's cheek, and part of her face was burnt too. Let me see how you receive those compliments about you being beautiful again, her stepmom murmured as she walked out of the room. Nora nurtured her injury alone and couldn't go to school throughout the week. Her stepmom's plan all this while was to stop her from going to school, so she took the advantage and sent Nora to her shop. She deprived her from going to school. Grieved with pain and despair, Nora accepted her life was actually useless and purposeless, as her stepmom always ranted. Every day she wakes up to experience a new shade of punishment. Her duty in the house was to wash clothes and plate, mop everywhere, go to the market, and stay at her stepmom's shop all day long. Lest I forget, part of her duty was to receive beatings and abuse from her stepmom. She was always accused of stealing from the shop, and she was always starved. The one beautiful Nora is now looking so tattered and hungry. Other kids will always mock her. The one that broke the camel's back was when Nora overheard her stepmom telling her sister that she killed Nora's mom and Nora would soon join her useless mother. She ran off from the house that fateful day and never looked back. Ready to face the street at 10. 2 nights passed on the street and nothing happened to Nora. But the 3rd night, Nora was faced and raped by 2 huge guys. She was totally broken, but she still never wanted to go back to the hell called home. As she lay lifeless on the road, a car passed by, and a few minutes later, the car drove back and parked by the roadside. Luckily for her, she was picked up by a man who represented the Good Samaritan, but she never knew he was a mafia lord. Watch out, as this mafia lord who picked up Nora nurtured and trained her to become a serial killer. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share, please. Episode 2 coming soon. Stay safe.